Hello punters and welcome to another preview ahead of tomorrow. Apologies for a couple of weeks delay. In the last couple of weeks I've been off and around doing uni stuff, and yeah, unfortunately I just haven't been able to get around to get time to get the videos in, but I'm back this week. We've got some great racing tomorrow. I mean, this is sort of the back end of the winter carnivals, but we've still got some nice horses going around. This is always, for me, a pretty good time of year. You get some of the horses that are just sort of coming to the back, either the back end of their preps, but one's also maybe starting up again for spring, which is not too far away. Cannot wait for that to get underway. So look a lot shorter than what we have been. We've obviously been looking at Morphettville and the various Queensland racing over the past few weeks, but we tomorrow are going to be focusing solely on Caufield here in Victoria. Very nice meeting there, and also Rose Hill in New South Wales. I'll also be doing a bit of I'll have a bit of a touch on the Morphettville meeting towards the end of this video. Just go through my best bets over there, just really quick wrap through that one. So if you're playing over there, you can follow that. But as for the Rose Hill meeting, I'll be focusing solely on that particular meeting. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Caufield meeting tomorrow. At the moment, the track's a soft 6. Bit of rain about. It hasn't been too much this evening, which is a good sign. So, I don't think we'll get into that good range, but we'll be working with a soft tomorrow more than likely, I would say, which does make things a little bit difficult, especially if we're looking at a 5, or even a 7. It's generally a bit of a hard range to figure out, but nonetheless we will get stuck into it and we'll find some winners as we always do. So checking out the first race on the card, it's the 1200 metre 2-year-old race. Look at the speed map in this. There's not a whole lot of speed. I'd say Deference will go forward based off its sale maiden second placing. King of Hastings usually goes forward, so I'd say it will sit outside Deference in the lead, and Sizzle Fly will probably just tuck in behind with a bit of cover. And for me, I just think this is Sizzle Fly's race to lose. It's been absolutely superb so far. I mean, its resuming run at Mornington was just sensational a few weeks ago, and the Queen's birthday meeting down there, it was just set off the pace and just rounded the bend 3 wide, just put them away so quickly. Devastating turn of foot, and for me, the way it maps tomorrow, it's got that wide barrier, but the 2 inside of it have a lot of speed. It could definitely, KO Clouther could definitely take it forward and sit in behind the speed, and it'll get the run of the race, in my opinion, if they decide to do that, and would produce that devastating turn of foot again. I think it can win once again, and I think $2.15 is not a bad price, to be honest. I think it'll be hard to beat. In for second, I do have number 1 Champagne Boom. I think this is the class horse of the race. I mean, you're looking at last preparation at some of the races it was in. Of course, won at Caufield here at this track brilliantly on debut, and then it went up the straight at Flemington, went narrowly down at Boa Rossa, then it went obviously finished 4.3 lengths off Exhilarates in the Magic Millions, and its resuming run was not too bad behind St Edward's Crown. Really closed off late. It was not a pretty nice run first up with the 59 kilos, and coming back to Caufield might suit, but for me there's not enough speed in this race. I'd be very surprised to see it win, but I do think it can definitely get in for a place, so I've got it in for second. In for third, I do have number 2 King of Hastings. I think I'll get all the favours on the pace, and for what it's done so far, it was really narrowly beaten. It gave a good kick last time out at Sandown on the Lakeside track, and prior to that was a really nice win at Cranbourne. So it'll get all the favours on the pace, and I'd say it will run well once again. It's got it in for third. In for fourth, I do have number 11 Avon River. I've got a bit of time for this 2-year-old filly for James Cummings, and look at the form. First preparations, 2.3 lengths off Hightail on debut, then 4.8 lengths off a Session, 2.2 lengths off Immersement. That was in a Group 3 there, and of course Immersement went on to win the Golden Slipper, and then 4 lengths off Castle Vecchio. So I mean, it's elite form, and it's probably better than all of these in my opinion, and this horse has got a good chance, but for me, first up, fresh, and with an alt knowledge to be in the race, be surprised to see it win, but I'd say it should be closing off late, so I've got it in for fourth, but pretty confident those 4 on top. I think they're going to be the ones to beat. So just to recap, number 3, Sizzle Fly, the favourite on top. In for second, number 1, Champagne Boom. In for third, number 2, King of Hastings. In for fourth, number 11, Avon River. Race number 2, 600 metre benchmark 78 race here. Looking at the speed map, quite a lot of it, I'd say Sizzle Fly will be prominent off the inside barrier. That we wouldn't want to get too far back. like they have been doing. I would say pre-eclipse she'll jump and run like she always does, and North Africa off barrier 6, I'd say I will go challenge it for the lead, to the throne. Usually goes forward. Last time out, of course, it went back a bit, much to my despair, because I knew at the Sandown Lakeside track there wasn't a whole lot of chance of winning from the back, so when it did so, I was a little bit disappointed there. And Shrouded Miss has got barrier 15, is looked to be drawn wide again, but of course that did nothing to it last time out at Lakeside. It was a sensational win when it was wide without any cover throughout that race. So a little bit of speed in this race. For me, I think it'll set up really nicely for number 13, Tavistock Dancer. I've got a lot of time for this horse. I backed it twice last preparation, backed it onto Burt Kilmore where it won really nicely. Then it came out at Caufield, backed it again, and overcame Shaq really late. Benchmark 64, but those two victories are really nice, and I think this horse got a lot of upside. There's a 3-year-old gelding now, and Michael Walker's in the saddle. I just think he'll get all the favours that match so well, and I think it can really have a good showing first up here at the each way odds of $5.50 and $2.10 the place, and there's been a little bit of backing as well, which is nice to see. So I've got it on top. I have it to beat number 11 Pre-Eclipse. It's just so tough, and she'll get all the favours. She'll better get find the front. I'd say she'll just keep kicking like she always does, and doesn't mind the wet. Probably prefers the heavier track more than the soft. Look at the heavy track stats: 2 wins and 2 placings from 5 starts, but still on the soft going. It's only missed the place 6 times from 17, so it's not too bad at form, and she's just so consistent. Got to have her in the multiples. So I've got her in for second. In for third, I do like number 8, Royal Thunder. I thought it really closed off nice behind Street Chic last time out at the Lakeside track. Pretty hard to gain ground from the back, but it came from midfield, had a good run home, and I think it was a nice finish. And prior to that, it was 2.8 lengths off Silent Roar at Caufield. So I like how it's going. I've got it in for third. In for fourth at a bit of odds, I like number 3, Royal Ace. I think this horse might get a bit of a chance here to run a nice race. It's got great soft and heavy track form, so I like that coming into this. It was really disappointing last time out by Mr. Marathon Man's finished 30 lengths off, and was pulled up in that race. But prior to that, it wasn't all that bad. You look at the form. First up, 3.1 lengths off Curry has been flying this prep. 4.1 lengths off Connery at the Hillside track. I just think that with this rain affected going, it might just bounce back into form, this horse, and Noel Callow in the saddle. I'm just willing to give it a go at the big odds for me. I wouldn't want to leave it out and see it perform well. Other horses I think got a chance. Look, Sizzle Me, I've been a big fan of this horse since, but it just hasn't fired this preparation. Been really disappointing, and just couldn't put it in this time round without that knowledge. And Shrouded Miss, look, absolutely sensational win last time out, but for me, once again, it's going to have to do the tough runnings, and I can't put it in with when it's matched the way it is at the moment. I just think it's too much of a risk, especially at $4.20. The other horse that I'm pretty keen, 5 Kingdom, I think it's got a bit of a chance, but it was a little bit disappointing last time out. I mean, it closed home nice one, come on Carl, but it carried 51 kilos on that occasion. It's going to have to carry 58 with the Lockie King 2 kilo claim. I just think it's a bit of a false favourite in my opinion. So just to recap my numbers on the second race of the card, I do like number 13 Tavistock Dancer on top. In for second, number 11 Pre-Eclipse. In for third, number 8 Royal Thunder. And in for fourth, number 3 Royal Ace. Race number 3, 1400 metres for the 3-year-olds. Looking at the speed map here, Yulong June will be forward off the barrier 2, I'd say. Robe de Fay will probably take up the front. I'd say Demilitarised will be quite forward as well. The Enver Yusovic maiden runner, which is interesting, he's decided to take it here instead of going for the easy kill of the maiden, which does raise a bit of eyebrows, and I have got it in the numbers subsequently. But having a look at the speed map, and look, I think number 10 Really Swish is a bit of sorry, I'll try and get that out again. It's a little bit of overs here. Has been a little bit disappointing this preparation after it was only 1 length off, not enough effort first time up at the Hillside track. I was pretty keen on it the next time out, and just was 4.6 lengths behind, not enough effort. Then went down to Mornington, was 3.7 lengths off Blonde Choice. So it's been a little bit off the mark, but for me, I just have a little bit of time. It's only going to carry the 52 kilos tomorrow, and for me, I just think it's a great chance in the small field and can run a nice race and perhaps win this. So I just took it over number 5 Fabric. 2.15 is too short for me to take for it. It's going to have a bit of got barrier 10 to contend with. Mike Paul will have to navigate that, but it was a sensational win last time out at Flemington. So if it decides to go up on speed like it did last time out, I'd suggest that if it can get in and tuck in and get some cover, it would be really hard to beat. I just couldn't take $2.15 personally. In the third, I do like number 4, Road to Fay. I think this horse can fire third up. Hasn't fired so far. It was really disappointing last time out at Morphettville and pretty well backed. And then prior to that, it was pretty good by not enough effort up the straight at Flemington. Comes to Caufield here. I think it's a much better horse around the bend, and it can run a nice race here up front. I think it's going to get all the favours to do so. In for fourth, I do like number 2, Persuader, backing up off the quick backup from last weekend, where it finished 2.9 lengths off Gee Trash, which was a nice run actually. It closed off, boxed on just okay, and I think coming back to Caufield, it hasn't missed a place, it'll be in the finish as well. So just recap the numbers on the third race of the card. I like number 10, Really Swish on top. In for second, I like number 5, Fabric. In for third, number 4, Road to Fade. And for fourth, number 2, Persuader. Race number 4, 3-year-old fillies race over 1,100 metres. Pretty nice race. This is pretty hard to find. And looking at all the speed this race, I'd say Tell Me will spear off barrier 1, do well, will be quite prominent. Perhaps, maybe not forward, but we'll look to be sitting behind them. News Girl will be forward. I say the Commodore will go forward. Algernon Miss will go forward. So say most of those inside barrier horses will go forward. Pariano and Final Choice generally like to get forward in their races too, so it'll be interesting to see where they find themselves. For me, I was very keen on this horse, number 11, Sweet Jazz, first up at Sandown, and it was extremely well backed. It was one of the best backed bets of the day, runners of the day that time out, and it was. Look, I thought it was a sensational effort. I mean, Zizzis won that race. It was a really good win by Zizzis, and I'm looking forward to see it go around next time out. Lapped up the heavy track, but gee, Sweet Jazz really closed off nicely as well. It came from the rear of the field. Didn't think there was much chance, and it really did power home late. Just had some shine taken off it by Zizzis' powerful finish. But I think this horse will win tomorrow and gets all the favours once again. Perhaps not so much the heavy track now. Gets back to the soft going, and I think it'll lap it up nicely and win pretty well. I've got it on top. I think it can beat number 2, News Girl, who I think of the on-speed runners will get the run of the race from that inside barriers. First up here, has had the win on the soft going and doesn't mind running here at Caufield either. It did so a couple of times, and this sort of distance range is decent for it. I mean, you have a look at last preparation, second up, it was 1.1 of a length off Crack the Code, and 0.8 of a length off Crack the Code again. So 2 races back to back at Caufield, around really nice races. So I think if it can sort of get that nice run on the speed, find the front, find the fence, I think of the on-speed runners, it will get the run of the race and will finish in the placings and finish second. In for third, look, I've got something a bit of odds here. I think number 12, the Commoner, is a bit of over the odds. It was really disappointing last time out of that Sweet Jazz race where Zizzis won. It was on the pace that time round, but prior to that, it was really good. He was just beaten by Shooter, and this horse, I think, can improve off that last run. And again, much like I said, of the on-pace runners, will get a decent run at it, in my opinion. I just could see it turn tables now. This horse, number 7, Calzini, I think this horse can also pop up here. It's been doing most of its racing up in Queensland, and loves the wet going. Had ran on a couple of wet tracks up there in Queensland, handled them all quite well. And it comes out of some nice form races there. So I just think coming back here with Dwayne Dunn, and that's also a big key booking there. Dwayne Dunn, you've always got to. He's been on fire riding recently, and I think him riding a $21 shot just raises the eyebrows for me. So I've got to put it in the numbers. Look, really open race, very hard to pick. Left a few ones out that I might regret, but I just couldn't. For me, Pariano and Final Choice can need so much luck from those outside barriers. I just couldn't put them in the numbers personally. Do have a bit of time for them. If they had drawn better, I would have had them in the numbers instead. But just to recap the numbers, look, I'm pretty confident number 11, Sweet Jazz, one of the good things of the day, in my opinion, in this tough race. In for second, I like number 2, News Girl. In for third, number 12, the Commodore. And in for fourth, number 7, Calzini. I think we can get some pretty nice dividends there with trifectas and first fours and also early quaddies. So anyway, move on, race number 5, 1,200 metres, benchmark 84, checking out the early speed in this race. I think Like to Think So will find the front off the inside barrier, probably get most of its own way. I think Barcelona will be prominent, as will Sheriff John Stone off the outside. But I think Like to Think So will lead and lead comfortably. And for me, I think it'll be really hard to beat, to be honest. I think $6.50 is quite generous. So last time out it was really game at Swan Hill, was only just run down late by Northern River. Prior to that, it was 6.1 lengths off Passful, carrying 60 kilos up the straight at Flemington. But I think third up, it'll suit nicely. I think off the back of that run at Swan Hill, loves the wet going. It's had 2 starts on the soft for 2 placings and 1 start in the heavy for 1 place. So I think it'll figure in the finish. And as I said, with Harry Coffey in and barrier 1, I think it's just going to get all the favours on pace. It's going to be hard to run down. So I've got it on top to beat number 7, Torpenhow. I've got a lot of time for this horse. I think it's got a nice bit of ability. Last time out was first up, won nicely, coming powering home from the back behind the Pharaoh. Its trials haven't been really all that flash leading in, and that for me just maybe query a little bit. It's been pretty well supported coming into this race, so got to give it a bit of respect, and I've got it in for second. In for third, I do like number 3, Barcelona. I think of the on-pace horses, it'll also be finish off nicely. First up stats are pretty good, 6 starts for 2 wins, a second and 2 thirds, so I only missed the top 3 finish once from 6 times first up. Doesn't mind the rain affected going, so 10 starts on the soft for 4 wins, 2 placings, and 1 start in the heavy for 1 placing. So I think with all that easy speed, it'll run a nice race, be in the finish. And number 1, Belsonic, I think of the back markers, it'll be charging home. I was really impressed with its run by Milwaukee last time out. That was a really bunch finish, of course, last week at Flemington up the straight. I thought it was a really nice run and can run a nice race again, backing up off the quick 7-day backup. And also doesn't mind running on the soft, so that 8 starts for 3 wins, 3 placings. So just for me, this speed map, I just think it's going to have to produce a real devastating turn of foot, which I know that this horse can do, but for me, it hasn't quite shown it enough this prep, and also at the same token, I just don't think there's enough speed in this race for it to come on. But I think it'll be in the finish once again. It's racing nicely. So just recap the numbers for the 5th on the card. I do like number 6, Like to Think So, on top. In for second, I like number 7, Torpenhow. In for third, number 3, Barcelona. And in for 4th, number 1, Belsonic. Race number 6, 3-year-old 2,000 metre race. I'm very confident I won this race, and it's number 2, Tysonic. I was extremely keen on its chances last time out at Sandown. I thought it'd be more prominent speed. I saw it at the back of the field, and I was tearing my hair out because on lakeside track you don't often come from the back and win. But this horse did that and more. It absolutely put them to the sword. I know Vincentore really kicked on late, but that was so impressive. I mean, to come from the back, swoop round the field, finish over the top of them late on a Sandown lakeside track, which heavily favours the on-paces. That was so impressive for me on the soft going as well. Comes back here to Caufield. For me, it's just going to be so hard to beat once again. I can't see why Dogmatic will turn the tables on it. It's got a 2 kilo, still holds a 2 kilo advantage on it. So I've got Tysonic on top, number 2. In for second, number 1, Dogmatic, for the reasons I outlined. I do think it'll be those two fighting it out. Dogmatic, of course, 1.7 lengths off Tysonic last time out, and prior to that it was obviously beat Tysonic here at Caufield, so do keep an eye on that. And but for me, that run was just too good last time out by Tysonic. I can't not back it this time round. I've got to have it on top ahead of Dogmatic. In for third, I do like I like number 12, Scherzer, actually. I think this horse is really progressive, and its sail win was really good last time out. Prior to that, it charged home nice from the back on the lakeside track in a maiden behind Falls, which that race actually had a bit of form come out of it, so I don't mind it. And just think this horse has got a bit of progression. It's only going to carry the 52 kilos as well, so and gets barrier 3. I think it's paying well over the odds. In for 4th, I do like number 5, Peace Brother. I think of the other ones coming out of that race, it's got the best chance. I thought it boxed on pretty nicely, was sort of sitting 3rd, 4th around for most of the straight, and it really boxed on okay from the front, and I think it can do so again tomorrow. So just to recap the numbers, I'm pretty confident with the top 2. I like number 2, Tysonic, on top to beat number 1, Dogmatic. In for third, I do like number 12, Scherzer, a bit of odds in for third. And in for 4th, I like number 5, Peace Brother. Race number 7, 800 metre open race. This is very much that as well, an open race in my opinion. I'd say Mascalino, Gizzo and All Wild will contest the speed from the 3 inside barriers. And for me, I just think we'll get the time in the lead, and I think Mascalino will be really hard to beat. There's never lost here at Caufield. There's never not placed here at Caufield. It's had 2 starts of the track for a win and a placing. It's very good on the rain affected going. 4 starts on the soft going for 1 win, 2 placings. 3 starts on heavy for 2 wins. I thought it was really good last time. Dr. Drew was just way too good for them at Flemington. But this horse, Mascalino, gets a massive weight relief. Goes from 60 kilos down to 54. I think this horse will enjoy that a lot. 3rd up, I think it's just going to be perfect for it with all that easy time in the speed that I expected to get. So I've got it on top to beat number 7, One More Try, who I really do respect all of that run behind Dr. Drill. Was really good last time out, 2.8 lengths off. And as I mentioned before, I mean, you're looking at it here, and I guess I can see where the market's coming from. Like, you've got One More Try finished a lot closer than what Mascalino did. But on that occasion, a lot of them, the front runners, didn't really stick on, besides Dr. Drill, who was sort of sitting just in behind the pace. But I just think that, sorry, Mascalino is actually carrying 52, so I'll correct myself. I just think with that massive weight relief for Mascalino, it will change it up, and having all that time on the pace, I just want to go with it at 4.40 rather than One More Try at $2 personally. In for third, I like number 4, Gizo. Well, this horse is just so consistent. I mean, especially this preparation of this track. I mean, has had 4 starts this track for 2 wins, 2 placings. Hasn't missed the top 3 finish. I think it will do that again. It was really unlucky not to win last time out behind Tantat Trust. He was beaten by 0.1 of a length on that occasion. Prior to that was 3.4 lengths off Spun Lager at Flemington, and prior to that it won here at Caufield, beating the Excels. So it's been around the money, and I think it will do so again, Gizo. In for fourth, I like number 4, Leopard at some odds. This horse comes back to Caufield, where last time it was here 4 starts ago. It was really unlucky not to beat Amadeus by 0.2 length. It was $67 odds that day. Since then, look, I don't think it's been all that bad, to be honest. I mean, 3.7 lengths off Spun Largo, just chased on okay there. And then at Lakeside Track, I mean, Mr. Marathon Man obviously won that from the back. The Leopard came from even further back, came from 14th, where it was last to come around the bend, and finished 6th. So I think on the Lakeside Track, that's actually a really good run. And this horse doesn't mind the rain effect going especially heavy. So if we do get a bit of a downpour, I'll be lifting Leopard up in my numbers. While it's on the soft going though, I'm happy to keep it in at 4th. So just to recap the numbers, I like number 5 Mascalino on top to turn the tables on number 7 One More Try. In for third, I like number 2 Gizo, and in for 4th, number 4 Leopari. Race number 8, 1200 metre, fillies and mares, benchmark 90 race. Checking out the speed map here, I'd say Gwyneth will find the front. I think Miss Morway, Amatentia and Fragonard will be quite prominent from the outside barriers. They'll look to find a spot, and Noriko might be pushing forward. But I'd say Gwyneth will get the lead and have it quite nicely, with Miss Norway sitting outside more than likely. For me, look, I do like the chances of Miss Norway, but I think there's a horse that is paying massive odds in this, and perhaps shouldn't be. And that horse is all about Nikki. This horse, really is going around at ridiculous odds, in my opinion. So I'll just get that back up again. I mean, if you go back a few starts ago in that mares race, of course, it finished, which she won at really nice odds on that occasion. And for me, I guess Barrow 1's going to get a nice run once again. Look, last 2 starts hasn't been really impressive. I was beaten by Patrol by 5.1 lengths and 5.4 lengths behind Kingsbrook. But I just think coming back here to Caufield again, it's going to get the right run in the race from Barrow 1. I think $34 odds is just ridiculous for me. And I think that loves the soft track. It's had 15 starts on it for 6 wins and 2 placings. It doesn't mind the heavy track either. So for me, I think it's massive overs. I do like number 5 Urac in for second though. I'll be having a bet on both of them. Like I said, just all about Nikki because of the odds I'm putting on top. But I do like Urac. I thought it really did chase home nicely in that Flemington straight race. It comes back around the bend, which I think you'll enjoy. It's had 1 start this track for 1 win. So 2 starts on the soft for 2 wins, 1 on the heavy for a win. You can't really get much better than that. It just loves the rain effect going. A second up here, I think you're going to see a big improvement from this horse. So you're backing both of them each way there. I'm very keen on them both. Look at it now, probably could put Urac on top, probably to be the safer option. But I just think all about Nikki's paying huge odds. I wouldn't not want you guys, anyone who's following me, to not have a go at it. It's both paying really nice odds. So I like them on top to beat number 1 Miss Norway, who I think will be up on the speed and has a lot of progression. I thought that was a really good run behind Par and Prince first up. But it changes in the weights, goes from 51 up to 57 now. Of course, it steps down in class, goes from an open race now back to a benchmark fillies and mares 90. But for me, I just think, look, it's going to have to contend with that wide barrier. Just it's a bit too short for me. I'd rather go with the 2 that I mentioned. And if for 4th, I do like number 2 Fragonard. Again, wide barrier, but I think this horse is racing really nicely up in Sydney. Of course, it finished 2.3 lengths off Passage of Time last time out. Has been racing in terrific form up there. So with Craig Williams and the saddle, I think it'll be in the finish. Just recap my numbers on the 8th on the card. look, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to put Urak on top, number 5, just to play it safe. But All About Nikki, I definitely suggest having a bet on it. In for second, I'm going to have a go at both. In for third, I like number 1, Miss Norway. In for fourth, number 2, Fragonard. Race number 9, 1400 metres, last of the day, benchmark 84. And my goodness, the speed map in this, I'd say Angelic Spirit, Elite Drake, or Spear to the front. Winner generally likes to go forward. Strike Force generally likes to try and get forward in its race. A Special Diva will be up there. Street Chic will probably sit in behind them. They'll probably will look to take that horse back with all that speed in the race. But they might want to use Barrier 1 to kick it up and get a prominent position. So just a stack of speed in this. And for me, I think it'll just... look, I'm really curious to see what they do with Street Chic, whether they do take it forward or push it back. But for me, it'll be hard to beat once again if they do decide to take it back. We would need a little bit of luck, but for me, I thought that was a really nice run by Travis, my friend, last time out at Sandown, the Lakeside track. Travis, my friend, ran pretty well on Wednesday at Sandown. Was beaten by a really good horse in Bedford on that occasion, which was a really good performance. Go and have a look at that one. There's some really nice winners out at Sandown, actually. I'm going to be doing a segment soon about the midweek runners, the ones to watch ahead of the spring. I'm going to try and really load ourselves up and get a few runners to watch, so just keep an eye out for that. But and prior to that, going back to Street Chic, one really nicely at Morphettville prior to that. It's in good form. Just think of it, if they decide to take it back and use all the speed in the race to come into it, it'll be really hard to beat. So I've got it on top to beat number 1, Snitzerpeg, who I think can enjoy all this pace on and can improve off that first up performance last week. Not last week. It's had a bit of a let up behind Milwaukee. It was really disappointing up Australia on that occasion, but it's had a real freshen up since then. Much prefers running here at Caufield. It's had 6 starts at the track for 2 wins and a placing. Doesn't mind the soft going, which I do like, and as I said, with all the speed on the race, I think it can track into it nicely and finish off well, and will be in the finish. So I've got it in for second. In for third, I do like number 10, Into Rio. I think it will enjoy a lot of the speed on. It was really good first up from the back at Seymour on a benchmark 64, beat Short of Shine on that occasion. I think it can improve with Craig Williams in the saddle. In for fourth, I do like number 5, Werner. I think Werner, this was paying a bit of overs in my opinion. It was stepping back from the open company behind Jungle Edge, and Jungle Edge ran really nicely on that occasion. Went to Sydney and ran well again. So for me to second up, I think Werner deserves to not be those odds at all. I mean, looking at last time out, it was competitive in benchmark 84 grade, and this is obviously what I'm running tomorrow, and was only 2.7 lengths off Chamois Road in an open race. So this horse is definitely up to this, and I think $41 is massively over the odds. So I've got to have it in the numbers in fourth. So just recap the numbers on the lines on the card at Caufield. I like number 4, Street Chic on top. In for second, number 1, Snitzerpeg. In for third, number 10, Into Rio. And in for fourth, I like number 5, Winner. Now, as I mentioned previously, I will quickly actually run through some probably the best of the day tomorrow at Caufield. I do like the chances of, I do like number 3, Sizzle Fly, paying $2.15, so quite short now, but I think it'll be the one to beat in that race. It'll be really hard to knock off. I also like the chances of number 11, Sweet Jazz. I think that's going to be a nice bet for tomorrow. And the other horse that I do like is number 2, Tysonic. So they're my 3 best bets of the day tomorrow in race number 6. So race number 6, number 2, Tysonic. Race number 4, number 11, Sweet Jazz. And race number 1, number 3, Sizzle Fly. Something at a bit of odds, as I mentioned towards the end there. I really do like the chances of number 5, Urak at $6. I think that's a nice each way. And then I'd have a little something on number 4, All About Nikki in that same race at $34. So they're probably the 2 I would look to be backing at those odds in as a bit of value. So moving on now to the Morphettville, I'm just going to quickly run through my best bets on the card there. Looking at the meeting tomorrow. In the first race, I do like number 4, Hard Press. I was on this horse first time up at Sale, and it was I'm not even kidding, I'm not over exaggerating. It's 5-6 wide, no cover at Sale, and really sort of finished off nice behind Sakoshi. We'll get a good form reference there with in the first race at Caufield. In fact, going around is Deference. So we'll be able to get a bit of a form guide there, but I just think Hard Press will win this race with a bit of luck. It was just such an impressive effort. It still found the line despite being 5-6 wide. on that occasion at sale. So I think this horse got a bit of ability. Raquel Clark, she'll deliver a good ride as she always does. So I like it in the first race. Race number 1, number 4, Hard Press, $2.15. Other horses I do like tomorrow, race number 4, number 1, Sasco. I think this horse can perform once again. I was really keen on it last time out at Morphettville and it delivered nicely, so I'm going to go with it again. I think it's got a really good chance to win once again. Another horse I think, race number 5, number 14, Charles McFarlane gets 3 kilo claim. This horse will carry 52.5, and I think this horse Wanasa is a really good chance at each way odds. First up at Moe was beaten by Honeysuckle Choice, was backed into $1.80 on that occasion. There was 5.3x off Anjana, but there's no problem with that. Anjana's race is a really good company, and its trial racing was really nice, so I do like the chances of that horse. So that's race number 5, number 14, Wanasa. And race number 6, number 5, Creativity. I think this horse for Will Clarkin can improve off the back of its last time out, where it went around as a favourite and was beaten, really convinced by Joe the Junior. I think it can improve off the back of that run. It's been well backed once again. Of course, that horse has been was formerly with Matt Allerton and Simon Zara, so I think that horse can improve off the back of a disappointing showing last time out. And yeah, look, for me, there's not anything of massive value that takes my fancy at Morphettville, so I'm pretty keen to go with those ones that I just mentioned as my best bets tomorrow at Morphettville. So good luck if you're playing tomorrow. Keep an eye out for my Rosehill meeting, which I'll be putting up next, and good luck tomorrow if you're on the punt.